Now we're here. You know what? Microphones are off because Lacey was clanging in the kitchen, and we were saving y'all's ears. You're welcome. Not because we're complete and utter fools.
And now she's going to give you the death stares.
No, she's going to laugh. She always thinks I'm funny.
Make that a blooper.
Make that a blooper. Yep, exactly. So, we're here. We're back. We are set for our monthly
review. Yes. Not as many games as last month.
Thank goodness. I don't know that we can do that every
Another
month.
2.5 hour stream.
Yeah,
or play 40-something games.
Yeah, either one. Right?
Yeah.
It's fun to do. I probably wouldn't have a wife if I was playing 40-something games every single month.
We're going to a con next month.
We are going to a con next month.
I mean,
pretty excited.
Yeah, should be a nice little local con.
Local con.
I'm only doing one day.
I am curious how the finding table is going to work.
So we went, what was that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that? And we knew Wade was there, right? So that's who we played our games with. That gave us the ability to play with three.
Correct. So we played 2 games with him. We played 2 by ourselves.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. I'll get to that in a second. But we played 2 games with him. We played 2 games by ourselves. And then I think we only played 1 game.
It was that Elysium game with some rando, right?
Yeah, we played 3 games by ourselves. We played Rome? Rolling Realms, and Yokohama Duel.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And then with Wade, we played...
Coffee Traders?
I was going to say Tricarian, but Coffee Traders and Zoography.
Did we play that with him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they had it there, and we're like, okay, we can teach that. And then we played Elysium, and I don't think we played with anybody else anything else.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
So...
Got to be more outgoing this time.
Well, it wasn't that. It was more... if we don't have something lined up with Wade, which sounds like we don't.
We don't. He's out of town.
We're going to have to actually find people.
That's true.
Or we play by ourselves like we always do.
Just at a different location.
Yeah, different location and different games, right?
Yeah, they will have games.
We don't have enough games to play. We need to go borrow some from a library.
Very true.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, thanks for being here. Hope you had a good Independence Day.
Yeah, so mine was good.
It's y'all's anniversary or something?
No.
Something, right? You guys do something.
We met when's your anniversary? June something.
June 20th. Yeah.
So we met June 21st. We met the day after Paul's
wedding.
Paul got married. It was like one of our first dates. Not our very first date, but one of our first dates was going to the drive-in, and we've now gone every year. Now that we have kids, we take them. So also now we have kids means we no longer get to watch the movies we want to watch. Not that there was any good movies. Honestly, we went and saw Inside Out 2. Probably the choice we would have made without kids because it was like Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2, Bad Boys 3, and I can't even remember what the 4th one was. So I was like, I would have most likely picked Inside Out 2.
Lola absolutely loves Inside Out.
Yeah.
The original, she calls it Feelings. The movie is Feelings.
We call it Emotions. That's what ours is.
That's probably more in line with it.
That is what Luna calls it.
Yeah.
And it's really Emotions.
Yeah. We call it Feelings, and she's always like, who's the red guy again? I'm like, you know the red guy. You get very angry. And then she's like, and the green one? So anyway, we went and saw it on opening day.
The second one.
The second one, yeah, the second one. I don't think it was way more like emotionally intelligent, I feel like, than what a 4-year-old can be. Luna and Luke.
Luna's going to stare at it, right? She don't care. Luke is not staring at anything. So, but I think the first one was much better. I'll just say that straight up. I think it was a much better movie. This one had some a good story, but my parents went and took Shepard, right?
Yeah, and he's 5.
They've taken Shepard to several movies. They said he's never gotten bored during a movie, and he was bored during that one.
Yeah.
One, I think, and I was talking to Lacey about this. One, the first one is mostly all focused on the emotions with very little
character,
anything else, right? Very little of Riley. You see her walking to the bus stop or various things like that, right? Yeah. But very little of that. This one, it was dang near
the entire thing.
Nah, 50-50, I would say, right? There was just a ton of Riley and her interacting and that kind of stuff, right? And that's not what the kids want. The kids want the cute little shaped characters.
My take on that is the people, I don't know when that movie came out, the original one, but it had to have been like at least 10 years ago, if not.
No,
you know.
It can't be, because that was one of the ones Lacey and I did see at the drive-in one time.
Okay.
So I think it was like our second or third year, so that put it 5 years ago.
Oh, it's got to be way more. Really? Yeah. 5 years? Okay. Anyway, but I feel like the kids, were 7 at the time. They're 12 now, or 15, right? So like they kind of they're in Riley's position or whatever. Yeah. So anyway,
yeah. It did make me like hate anxiety, right?
For sure.
Like, and then like, I'm not gonna say I got anxious, but I'm like, I hate the things that Riley's doing. Like, this is terrible. I feel so bad. So it did convey that, but I think the first one was probably better. That's probably the one we will stream 1.5 million more times. Yeah. But it was fun. It was worth a watch for sure.
Yeah, it was a really good one.
So anyway,
but yeah, then I went to my in-laws' house. They have a lake house, and we bought tons of fireworks and just shot them off. And Lola stayed up, got all my fingers. Yep, I texted you and Joe just to make sure that you guys can have all your card-holding hands intact.
I don't know. I bet I have not shot a firework in.
Oh, I haven't either.
I'm 36. I'm gonna say 18 years.
Yeah, I
don't know that I have since like graduating high school.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
Yeah, I'm okay that we go to the drive-in and just watch them there. So I don't even actually watch them half the time.
We went to a drone show on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And so they had advertised, it's at this park, it's at Quakertown Park. I don't know if you know where that's at. But like, yeah, this is like, here is the concert stage. Everything is here. This is the viewing area, everything. So 9:15 comes, they're about to start doing it. And the guy comes out and he's like, hey guys, just so y'all know, they're staging behind us. If you want to, you can move back there and you can see the fireworks back there. And just kind of like giving this vibe of like, you're not gonna be able to see them where you're at.
Like you need to move.
Right? And so everyone starts like rushing over there. And then he comes back like 2 minutes later and he's like, hey guys, just, it's okay. You will be able to see him here. I just wanna make it sure you guys will be able to see it here. But he had this like tone in his voice where like it felt like he got reprimanded in the back where they're like, go tell them that they'll be able to see it. Yeah. Anyway, we do this like countdown from 10 and it gets to 0, nothing. Like we can't see anything. And then he just comes back on and goes, we like to build suspense, guys. Nothing. Probably 5 minutes pass and I look past the stage and I see drones flying and I'm just like, they're not high enough. Like we cannot see them from here. So we ended up like having to pack up our entire wagon, everything move. We saw the last 3 minutes of it. Very disappointing. You can't see it from the advertised section. So we'll see what they do next year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a bummer. Okay, so that was a complete derailing. Yeah. Time to get to talking about some games.
Let's do it.
How many did we play this month?
It was about 28.
28.
27, 28, something like that.
28. Whatever the thumbnail says, that's
how
many
we played. It says 28, but I don't think it was right on there.
Oh, Paul makes thumbnails. He's not smart.
I can't count.
Okay, sorry about the dog door clacking. They are very anxious today.
They're probably expecting more fireworks.
Oh, could be. Anyway, let's look at that. They keep coming. How many dogs do I have?
Okay. Too many.
Okay, we're going to start off with Above and Below. We played this together.
We live streamed this one last week.
We live streamed this week.
Yeah, last week.
Everybody knows my memory is terrible, or should by now. I couldn't tell you most of the time if we played it last week or last year. I'm just like, yeah, we played that game. Above and Below, game very early into Paul and I's hobby.
Yes.
More so Paul's hobby. This was like one of the first games into his. Great game. Played it last week. I think we both still thought it was a great game. I've said before what the stories are in these 3 games here are the perfect amount of stories for me, right? It's one paragraph, you make a decision, that's it, you're back to playing a game. It's more focused on the game than the story, but they add some really nice narrative, and I don't know, I like it. It creates a cool little world.
Yeah, I definitely, it's one of my top, I want to say top 10, definitely top 15 games of all time. I really enjoy it. Like you said, it was one of the first games that I played as I was getting into the hobby. And I've always just liked exploring, right? That's always been my go-to in that game. I like the narrative. I like the fact that the stories they're not connected, but they're all in the same universe. So, you might see a Glogo here and you might see another one later on, right? And the playthrough that we had, you had that robotic creature. So if you played any of the other Arzium games, you know these characters and you kind of grow with them as the rest of the trilogy or as the rest of the Arzium universe goes on. So it's just one that I have a lot of nostalgia for, just because we played it a lot, but I do think it's that perfect game for you and me and kind of like our group. It's that good weight where it's not going to overstay its welcome, but the mechanics are deep enough and the story is deep enough that we're both going to enjoy it.
Yeah, so. I agree. If you haven't played this game, check it out. It's like just a little action selection game. Honestly, what I would consider pretty basic of a game. Anybody could learn this. You just collect resources, that creates income, and you build stuff and collect people, and very simple. So yeah, anybody can play this game.
I honestly forgot, because there's been a couple times where we've gone out and Kirsten said like, oh, let's play Above and Below, and I'll tell her, I was like, oh, it's been like 4 or 5 years since I played it last. I don't remember the game. And then literally when you set it up last week, I was like, oh yeah, there's
five
there's
actions
nothing to like.
5 actions and 1 is collecting money.
Yeah, right? I was just like, oh, I definitely could have taught this. Like it would have come back to me immediately. So
yeah.
In a way, I'm kind of like, hey, let's go to D20 and play it. And I'm like, I just played it, but I want it again. So it was really good.
Just take that.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, that was Above and Below. Over to Age of Comics.
Yes.
You soloed.
Up next, we have Age of Comics, The Golden Years. I soloed this one very early on in the month. It's one that I've actually kind of been staring at for a while on my shelf. We got it played for our playthrough, and then it's just kind of stayed there for a bit. And it's one that I keep looking at, and I really enjoyed how thematic the game is, right? So I've been playing a lot of Distilled lately, and what I really like about that is how the theme integrates with the game. And I remember through our playthrough and the stuff that I've been reading that this one was very similar. The thing with this one, it's a worker placement game where you are making comics. So you have a bunch of different actions. You can hire writers and drawers. You can develop comics. You publish the comics. You can get royalties. You can sell comics on the other part of the board, gain fans, all that kind of stuff. So it all makes sense. What really kind of throws me off about this game and what I don't like is the setup. There's so many little pieces and little chits. If you remember on the little the city board, yeah. Right? There's all those little fan tokens, and every round it's like, okay, now flip all of the crime ones, and you flip them over, and then there's all the idea tokens where it's like you need to pay 2 ideas to do this. That's fine, that works. But then every round you have to refill the ideas. Yeah. And then you have the fans, which is cool, right? Like it's super thematic, but it's like, okay, now you got to lose one at the end of every round. So there's a lot of upkeep in the game.
You're absolutely right.
And I really feel like I want to enjoy it more, just because it's very easy to play, right? It's again, I believe I compared it to like a viticulture or something like that, where it's like, oh yeah, the moves just make sense. You have to get this, you have to do this, you have to do that. But there's just a lot of upkeep in between that I don't know if it's worth.
You gotta, so it's funny you say that, right? Because I had thought this was like, this is a perfect intro game, right? This is an intro worker placement. I compared it very much to a Lords of Waterdeep, right? And honestly, probably a bit more simple than that, right? It's very clear on what you need. You need a writer, you need an artist, you need an idea, you know. And
you need to develop something.
Yeah, you put those together, right? It's almost like you take a Vito Lasara game and you strip down everything, right? And that's what you are, right?
Yeah.
Like flow through these actions. Go here, because a lot of times
like
your first couple rounds are that anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to action space 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you're doing that. And then as the game progresses, you kind of hop around. So I think it's but I think you're probably right. I think you will always need at least one, we'll call it board gamer, to actually run the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Because even then, like, right, you have the artist, you have a level 2 artist and a level 3 writer, and you want to train there's a certain, you have to pay a coin if they're the same color, but if they're not the same color, you have to do it a different way.
Yeah, so
and then here's this little token, flip it. So
you'll need that person to explain, okay, well, see, he can only spend 1 coin to go up, but you're actually going to have to spend 3 to go up because, you're absolutely right.
It's a game that it should, I don't know.
How did the solo play?
The solo was fine. So you have your own board on the other side, and it just plays 4 cards basically, and it just says, there's 3 lines on each card, very similar to like a Garfield. Like if you have this, do this. If you have this, do this kind of thing, and you just run through it.
Yeah.
It did pretty good at blocking spots. It's going to go to the writing, it's going to go to the developing and all that. It's not going to collect any royalties, so there's no money. But it did fairly well. There was no like rhyme or reason for stuff, but a lot of the cards had like multiple go get writers, go get artists. So it was always going to block that. So it was pretty important for you to like go first because you knew it was going to do that no matter what. You just didn't know when it was going to do it, right? So it played fine. I ended up beating it pretty bad, which I was a little confused at because I was just like, I don't know. Like I beat it real bad. Did I run it wrong? But then, I looked at a couple playthroughs and I was like, no, I think that's the score that it made. So not overly impressed. I want to try it again at more players just to see where it's at.
Play with more people and not do the solo.
Yeah.
Plenty of games that way. So, all right, that was Age of Comics. Boop.
Boop. Boop. It's a classic 2-player game. Very easy to get to the table.
This is one of Paul's favorite animal games.
This is one of my favorite animal games. It is. As of late, it is one of my favorite animal games. It's just super easy to get to the table, right? It's an abstract game, very similar to a chess, checkers, whatever. You have your kittens that you start off with. You want to get 3 kittens in a row. Once you get 3 kittens in a row, they graduate to cats. Once you get 3 cats in a row, you win the game. The little fun part of the game is when you place a kitten next to other kittens, they all boop off to the side, diagonally, adjacently, however. And then kittens can't boop cats, but cats can boop everything. So it's just this nice little puzzle that you're trying to figure out of where can I go, and surprisingly, strategic. So that's a boop.
That's a boop. Next up, cartographers.
Another one. Just kind of working through cartographers. I think I mentioned it last month, maybe the month before. I got all the new map packs and stuff like that. So just trying out all the different ones, trying out all the heroes. This month I tried, I don't even know what it's called, but it's the one that has the different islands. Honestly, I don't remember how it plays right now off the top of my head. I played this one early in the month, but I did play that one, and it had a different feel to it than the other ones. Not my favorite map that I've played so far, but a different addition to cartographers. I mean, they're all basically going to play the same.
Yeah, the nice part is it's changing it, right?
Yeah, it's changing it up.
Changing it, to where it's not the coin pillar things.
And there's not the one with the giant cave in the middle. So, yeah, it was fine. It was a good game. Again, I'm incorporating some of the heroes in some of the games and not the heroes in the other ones. And it's just changing it up. So, Cartographers is just a good base game. And the changes, it just adds a little bit of variety in there. So
I was thinking for our next, 5th filler, this should be our filler now that we have
That's a good idea.
Because truthfully, I have only ever played cartographers with the base map. Never done anything different.
Nice. So yeah, we could definitely. When is the next 5th?
It is next month.
It's in August?
Yeah. Because we missed May's because of BGG and then our race. So we missed May's 5th
May had one.
Yep.
Okay.
So
maybe we'll have to do 10 games.
Maybe.
I don't know about that.
Castellans,
yeah.
Castellans, sure.
We played this one last week, 2 weeks ago.
Did we live this or did we
We did
record
not.
this?
We recorded this one. This one will be coming out later this month.
Yeah, spoiler.
Got to edit it, so spoiler. But yeah, this is the newest game in the Valeria universe. So this one is technically not Castellans of Valeria because it takes place in Kosk. But anyway, this is a Valeria style game. You've got your dice. You've got It's an area control. Hey, Shelby.
Yeah, it's a pretty, I would say, relatively basic area control that has some little, I don't know what you would call it, tweaks with how the different things you're placing. But ultimately, it's area control. There's 6 zones. I think it's 6.
6 zones.
6 zones that you're competing for area majority, and then a couple tracks. I thought it was a solid area control game, right?
Yeah.
We played many, and this just kind of falls in the ranks of them, right?
This one I really enjoyed. Because there's different buildings that you build out into your zone. So you have this kind of like hexagonal area, and so each round different areas score. So you have different buildings. I forget what they're called, but it's like a manor, a castle, something else, right?
Like a windmill and a
windmill, citizens, all those things. So each of those little pieces will give you different control points. So like one of them will give you a full control point. I think the windmills give you like 0.5.
Yeah, everything gives you 1 except for the windmills, because the windmills give you
0.5 in each.
They go between and give you half for each.
And then you have like special monuments that are like kind of your multipliers. So it's like for how many ever ships you have in this section, you get 2 victory points during the scoring. But then the main buildings, again, I forget what they're called, but those give you kind of like auxiliary actions to do, or bonuses kind of thing.
Yeah, they call them bonuses. It's kind of
It's not really a bonus.
Yeah,
but...
it's called bonus actions. It's basically like, oh, if you can't do that action, feel real bad.
Yeah, feel bad.
You do the full action, or you just do half an action.
Yeah, but it kind of like nudges you in a certain direction at the beginning of the game, right? There's some that are like your citizen track discounted by 1, or you get a coin every time you retrieve a citizen.
So each of the, not main buildings, but each of the manors have,
that's what it is, the manors.
They unlock a power, right? And each power relates to one of the other tokens that you're placing out. Whether it's giving you a point, or giving you a coin, or giving you something, resource or something. But so I don't know, there's like 8 of the manors, and so each one will give you a different power, and so everybody picks one to begin with. So it kind of starts asymmetrical if you choose it to be.
Yeah.
But then as the game progresses, you have more powers, so then more stuff happens.
Yeah, and that part was, I enjoyed that. But there was a lot of times where you and I were like, oh yeah, I forgot to do this. Oh yeah, I forgot to do this. Because it's such little things that it's like...
Yeah, there was nothing... I say powers, but there was nothing really powerful about them. It was all very simple stuff. Gain an extra resource. And so you just kind of forgot in, I need to do this action, and so I'm gonna do it, and then, oh, whoops, I forgot I had already unlocked this, because they're kind of unrelated things. Why would this go together?
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I think it was fine. It
was a good game. It's
area control game. If you like area control, I'd recommend it.
I told Devin, I said it felt like a Valeria game, and your first word was like, how? It was not related to the other two.
Yeah, I don't really know what that means. But actually, you know what I thought? I realized, I have found, besides Guild Academies, most of these Valeria games do not have any kind of real big end game scoring conditions, right? They're just go get points as you get them, and there's no really building up towards something, right? And this one kind of was the same case, right? There really wasn't any kind of building up of anything. What you did on round 1 could score you as many points as what you did on round 4. Sorry. And so that made, I was thinking about your comment there, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of all these Valeria games play. You go get points. I think there's always going to be, a 2-point spread between 1 and 2. There's no real wrong thing you can do here. Really, after our playthrough, my takeaway really was like, you really shouldn't overthink this, because you can literally just play anything, and you're going to be pretty dang close to everybody's score is going to be very close. There's nothing that anybody can build and be like, oh, and here I got 10 points and I'm winning the lead. you're going to score points.
It's everything about like a Barcelona. You're going to get tons of points, but without like the multipliers or anything, right? It's I'm going to do this and I'm getting 10 points for this, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to get this many points, but without the extra building. So, yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I think it's if you like Valeria games, I think that it's one that you would enjoy. So, First Genesis, yes, it is Afro Plane. That is the one that I played. You are correct.
Caverna.
Yes.
So I picked this up at a secondhand game store. I don't remember what I paid, $40, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 40.
I was like, man, that's a pretty good deal. I've always wanted to play it. I love Agricola, right? People say this is like Agricola Plus, unless you're on the other side of that argument. You're like, Agricola's better because this is too much. Anyway, picked it up. Turns out it was brand new. Shrink had been taken off, but that was it. So it was a heck of a deal.
Yeah. You find some pretty good deals.
And yeah, I don't pay full price. Just go browse. Anyway, we played it. I'll let Paul start on this one, on what you thought of Caverna before I say what I thought of Caverna.
So, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. To me, it seemed like a more streamlined version of Agricola. With Agricola, you have your, I don't know if they're called occupation cards or whatever, right? But UE's always got some type of occupation. So you've got your occupation cards, which kind of make it more asymmetric for everybody, right? Those are your player powers. Yeah. With Caverna, there really wasn't those player powers. It was the differentiator in that game was what were you going to do in the game? Were you going to go on your expeditions? Were you going to beef up your trolls or whatever they were called, your dwarves, whatever they were, or were you like going to really build out your farm or whatever it is, right? So the gameplay, it wasn't the cards that made it different. It was your choices in the game that really made it different. And honestly, I felt like that made it a little bit more, I don't want to say intuitive, but it made it a little bit more easy to read, right? Like, because you're not having to remember all these occupations. Now, I know it is a heavier weight game than Agricola, but it didn't feel like that. Yeah, I think it was the decisions that you made had more impact on your game, and it wasn't based on those occupations.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. The occupations that you get in Agricola dictate your gameplay. Yes. And so you have to take your hand of, I don't remember, 7, 5, whatever it is, and you have to analyze, this is how I need to play the game.
Yeah.
Caverna, you can figure it out from turn 1, right? Mm-hmm. You have no path that is telling you this is how I need to play this game, and so you got to kind of figure that out. You got to go. I'm going to go here and collect some stone, build out this little tile in the cave, and then I'm going to go over there. But when you think that, I go over there. So now you get to do something else, and it's not
going to ruin your game.
Yeah, it's not hamstringing you because of it. So I totally agree. I love this. I love Agricola. I still love Agricola. I'm of the camp, this is a better game, right? And really, you check out BGG, the two games are like within 5 of each other, which is like crazy. So
it's basically the same game.
Very 50-50 of the people that love Caverna, people love Agricola. I still think Agricola is a great game. I would still play Agricola anytime. But now that I have this,
there's no reason to have
to always play Caverna. I think it was a fantastic game. I very much enjoyed it. I can't wait to explore it more. And I heard once you get tired of it,
you add 5 other players.
Well, but it's it's like any good Euro game, right? When they become popular, you add the asymmetrical expansion. People say the Forgotten Folk elevates this game because then you do have asymmetrical player powers, and you can start going that way.
And I think I mentioned that after our playthrough, that it was like, I feel like this one, even though it's heavier, I feel like this is one that it's better to start off with, and then you go on to Agricola where you have all the all the asymmetric stuff. I didn't realize there was an expansion for this one where it adds the same thing.
Yeah, it is. So it has 7 different characters, and one might be better at building in the caves, one might be better at building farm stuff. I don't know what they all are, so I couldn't. But then it also, they each, whatever one you add in, comes with their own buildings, but it's not like, if I'm the elves, I don't know what's in there. If I'm the elves, only I can build the elves. I'm now adding them into the game, and so anybody. So like, if I play a game of elves versus whatever
trolls,
then the next time we play, even if you're the elves and I'm the mermaids,
orcs,
it's a totally different game because now we have put different buildings.
Yeah, I could see that.
So anyway, Caverna. That was great.
Caverna was good. It was a good one.
Cubitos. I played this with my wife.
You guys started family game night this month.
We started family game night where our daughter, 2 years old, has been pretty good about just sitting right here.
Where the Cubitos box is.
Yeah, right where the Cubitos box is. And we give her some pieces and she thinks she's playing. We have learned we have to give her player mats. If we have a player mat, she's got a player mat, right? We've learned that. But yeah, we've done a couple games. We had to miss this week due to the fourth. So we were going to play something tomorrow. We actually talked about playing Above and Below. We'll see. We had actually also talked about waiting until the kids go to bed and playing Now or Never. And that's what I'm pushing for. But,
that'd be a good one.
To keep it as a family game night, we'll probably do Above and Below and let Luna sit here. So anyway, long story short, we played Cubitos. Simple racing game. It's funny. We're going to get to it. We played Quest for El Dorado, and I had said Cubitos replaced that for me, but I played both. Still enjoyed both. Cubitos is fun. I completely trounced Lacey, beat her into the absolute ground. Could have lapped her around, right? Probably should have crushed her experience, but Lacey's not that type of person, right? Until she's like, hey, we should play again, right? She's
like, that didn't feel right.
Yeah, and I also thought, it didn't feel right. Turns out I cheated massively. When you play this game, they're out on the racetrack are bonus spots, right? If you land on them, you get the bonus. And the key is if you land on them.
Not if you pass over them.
Not if you pass over them. And I passed over a bunch in the beginning, and then it just snowballed, and I was passing over all the big ones at the end, and I had a great time. I had the purple dice. I think I had 4 of them, and on my last turn, I moved, I think, 15 spaces, and it was great. Completely crushed her. Had a blast. Until I realized I cheated. I took the win away.
You took it out of BGG stats?
Yeah, absolutely. It was full-on cheating. So we played again. Played a different map, because might as well. Had a cool little teleport mechanic that Lacey rushed for. So I was like, oh, I have to do something different. Shouldn't have done something different. She crushed me. She teleported halfway across the map. I stumbled and bumbled, and she just, I was probably 2 turns away from crossing, and she beat me. So
that's awesome.
It never feels good, but she did.
That's good. Yeah, I just played Cubitos that once at BGG Con.
It has fun. So many.
It's like think of like a Quacks of Quedlinburg, right? The different cards that they have,
Absolutely.
Right? So, I like that where they're not giving you tons of more components. They're just like, hey, these yellows can represent any of these cards, or these purples can be any of these, right? So you just kind of, I think in the box it gives you recommended.
Yeah,
ones,
so
right?
It gives a bunch of different recommended setups. And I say a bunch, probably 10 different ones. And then there even is a race campaign of 3 races, so you could do 3 back-to-back.
That's pretty cool.
In there. There's a lot in the box.
Yeah, but once you kind of know them, you can just mix and match them and go from there. And so a lot of variety in that game, and it's a fun racing game. Racing games are just fun.
They are. I think I do enjoy El Dorado. I probably would almost never play Quacks again. I could teach this to new people just like I could teach Quacks, and I think that people would probably enjoy
it's that race
this
mechanic. That's what it is.
Because of the racing. Yeah. Actually, real quick caveat. The one we played, we played one of the recommended setups. It had this really cool synergy where the red card, if you had a active, it was like white and or whatever, green and white dice, I don't know which ones, you get something, right? And then something else like got you green and white dice, right? And then like one of them was like or the white dice was like for however many green you have, you can. It was just like they interacted so much different than like the base game. I was like, oh, these cards like actually interact together. This is really cool. Awesome. So anyway, those QB2s.
Dice Settlers.
Another stream?
Yeah, we stream this one. It's a board and dice game. One that's not very popular, I would say.
This was this is one of David Turksey's. I'm probably mispronouncing it. I don't think he pronounced it.
That's how I would say
anyway. One of his games, not him jumping on with
all the other
people type of thing. This one doesn't get a lot of love, but I enjoy it.
I thought it was good. I thought it was really good.
It's also just another kind of
area majority,
control. Yeah. Also, like Cubitos, it's another pool builder, right? You're just building up a group of dice. Has a lot of different paths to victory. Not a lot, but about 3-4 different.
Yeah, what I liked about it was that it's, again, I've said it before. I like building up bags. I think that's fun, right? Unlike other pool builders of some sort, right? Like you're not getting rid of stuff in this one, right? You're really just building it up because the more you have, in reality, it's kind of better for you to get those dice, right? I really enjoyed the fact that I don't remember exactly what I was going for in the game, but you were going for your buildings, right? You were trying to get all those buildings out, and that was the path of victory that you went with. But there was also the other ones of just gaining victory points, right, throughout the game. There's the ones of just area majority, just control this. And then there was the trading, right? Research, the research trading and all that stuff. So there is a lot of different ways to play it. It is one that I would like to explore some more because I do feel like there's a lot to explore in it. I'm pretty sure somebody said on a stream that the expansion to it adds even more.
People praise. So again, basic Euro game, right? Yeah. They add the asymmetrical player ability expansion, right? It's pretty. That's a pretty common trend, right? A lot of games do this. Lorenzo. There's just several games that you take. If any basic Euro gets popular, it's easy to paste in an asymmetrical player expansion, and you go from there. But yeah, honestly, I thought this is one I think our wives would play next time we're together. It's very easy to teach, and I think it would be very good at more people right? You would have a lot of these options of, I can't just always go where Paul goes, right? Now, I also need to expand over to Lacey's, and I need to cover some of Kirsten's, and I think this would be one, and then they would enjoy because it's not a whole lot to take that. There is a little bit, like any area control is going to have, but there's not a lot, and you don't have to focus on it. Yeah. So,
well, I think there's going to be a couple games on this list this month where we're going to say they're better at higher player counts. We played a lot of games that weren't the best at 2. They were good. I would definitely play them again, but I think you do need at least 3. This being one, Castellan's being another one, and then a couple more later on. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was a good game.
Last thing I want to say is I think this game did not get much love because this box is trash.
I like it. Trash. I think it's pretty good.
I think this is like...
It looks like the Miko art.
Terrible.
Is it the Miko?
Art. I don't know what the Miko is.
Is it the Architects of the West? Is it the West Kingdom?
I don't know.
It definitely is.
I think that art is also 100% not good.
Him. Yeah, that's why I like him. It's Valeria. It's...
Yeah. I think that art, I don't know. I like it. I own all these games over here. I think this art is complete garbage.
Yeah, it's the exact same artist.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. I don't think. Yeah. Not my style.
I love it. I think it's great.
Distilled.
Yeah,
the same artist also looks like that.
No, this is not. I don't know who this is. Distilled. So I got this one played. Let me think about it. Yeah, I played the solo on this one. And I talked about this solo before. What I really like about this one is that there's not a bot that you're going against. It's like a challenge kind of track that you're going to, and you need to beat a specific score. It's not a beat your own high score game because there's specific things that you need to do, and if you don't reach that score, then you just don't win, kind of thing. So you have these different A, B, and C goals. I forget which ones they start off at the top of my head, but you have 4 on the bottom, 3, and then like 4 more, something like that. Or maybe it's 3, 4, 4, 3. I think that's what it is because it makes kind of like a barrel shape. But one of them is like sell 2 spirits in 1 round, right? So you have to, in order to do that, you have to have one being aged, and then you have another one kind of done. And then there's another one that's like make 20 coins by selling 1 spirit. Or there's one that's just like, you know, there's all these kind of different ones. Have at least 5 alcohol in one of your liquors. So you're going for different things. And then you have your B and your A goals, and those have like certain numbers on them, and you have to combine those numbers, and that's the score that you have to get. So, like I said, there's 4 or 3 on the bottom, then 4, then 4. If you complete one, now you have to go to one of the 2 that branch off of it, right? So you can complete more, but then you still only have 7 rounds to get it. So it really becomes this kind of efficiency puzzle of which goals can I complete, and you can't see them all because they're flipped over. So you're constantly changing your gameplay to, okay, what do I actually have to do this time, or what am I going to do this round? This one is flipped over, so I can plan for that one in the future. Like that's one of the big goals at the end. So I know eventually I have to do something like this. So it's a really cool way that they did the solo, to where there's not like somebody playing against you, but you're still playing. You're exploring the game. It's a cool way to explore a different play, right? Like
make you do something else.
To make you do
like
something different, like a Hadrian's Wall or like a Feast for Odin, where it's like, okay, this game I want to do more of this. Let me explore this kind of pathway. So it really opens it up to. I don't want to say you being uncomfortable, but you doing something that you're not usually going to do, which, you know, in turn might make you enjoy the game a little bit more, because like, oh, I would have never done that before, and I actually like doing it this one. So it was good. I really enjoyed it.
That's good, Shelby.
Yeah.
Apparently she loves it too.
Yeah, Shelby likes Distill. Shelby, do you guys have the both expansions?
Oh, they have definitely the one that's got
the Middle East
Arabian looking guy.
Yeah. So the Middle East, do you have the cask strength one? It just adds new flavors in there. Draftosaurus, I got to play this one. Actually, I played Draftosaurus on BGA with Ian. This is one that you and I have played on BGA quite a bit. And it's fun. It's just a little quick drafting game of dinosaurs. You have a little bag, and obviously on BGA you don't, but you have a bag and you've got dinosaurs in there. You draft a handful of them. I forget how many off the top of my head. And then you have a map and just different sections. So like on the summer board, on the top section is you want all of the same color dinosaur. You have another section on the left side of the map that's you want no matching dinosaurs. There's another little section that's like you're going to have the most of whatever color you put here. So you draw a dinosaur, you place it, and that's kind of your scoring. Just a really quick drafting game. Honestly, I've played it, the physical version before, and it's fun, super easy to teach. I've played it with kids at, you know, board game groups and stuff like that, and they enjoy it, and it's a cool little theme, and it's good. It's a good game.
I can't really remember it. So
yeah. Well, you have the expansion.
I do have the expansion.
We don't have the base game.
Yeah.
But there's the expansion. And then this one is Draft and Write Record. So again, another one that I played on BGA. I think these are the only 2 that I have on here that were solely BGA. This is a newer roll and write. It's not really a roll and write. I guess that's draft and write. Yeah, that makes sense. But it's you are forming a band and everything that entails a band. So there's a bunch of different sections on your sheet of paper. There is the center section, which is your band. So you have one lead singer, you have the actual band, One of the other rows is, I think, your producers, and then another one is, I forget, your crew or something like that. You have another section where it's like your accolades, where you're collecting like gold records or whatever it may be. So it's a very combo heavy game where you draft this card and you want to make matching symbols. If you get these matching symbols, you get to cross off of this symbol. If you get to cross this off, now you might go over here to where your tour is and you can unlock this part, right? So there's a lot of interconnectedness on there that I really enjoyed. And for a good roll and write, draft and write, blank and write, whatever it is, that's what I really like, is those combos, that interconnectedness of I can do something over here to let me do something over here. That's what Hadrian's Wall has. That's what Fleet the Dice game has. It's just those things that connect it. And this one had a ton of it. There's a lot to explore in this game. So that was a Draft and Write Records.
Draft and Write Records. Ezra and Nehemiah.
We played this one last week.
We did. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. It was good.
Yep.
So I've now played at 1, 2, and 3 player count.
Same.
I don't know what's the best.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I like this game. I do really like this game. I don't know. I don't know what my thoughts are on it. I don't like the solo. I know that. It's the solo is just whatever. The solo, I feel like I just want more of a challenge out of it.
Have you played on the hard? I know it's the same. It's just a higher score.
Yeah, so that's why I don't really care, right? Like, I don't care that it's... I care that it's, like, getting in my way.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I want it to do, is attempt to get in my way and attempt to. So anyway, Paul and I played it 2. I thought 2 was good. I think 2 or 3 are both good. I think 3 is probably the better sweet spot for it. But I think the 2-player was good. I will play it with Paul anytime at 2. I'll probably never play this game at 4. I don't ever see what 4 would do to this game to enhance it, other than drag it out. Because I think our play was 2.5 hours. Our 3-player was 3.5 hours, right? And that would come down more plays for sure. But I still think 4 would just go,
minimum 3.5.
Yeah, it'd probably still be 3.5, right? Because there's just a lot of crunchiness. This game has...
Hello.
I think my thing with this game is this game has a lot of crunchy thought for minimal
payout.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it, right? I feel like something, I'm going to compare it to another Garfield, right? I feel like a Scholars has equally crunchy thought for much better payout, whereas this, it's like, ooh, okay, do I need to use the trade action because then I can do this trade action, when in truth you're netting 1 coin from it, right? It's very minimal changes that you're getting for how much thought there is. When you have to think, should I do this trade, right? You are coming out ahead doing the trade, but it's very minimal, whatever it is, right? I'm going to trade away this stone to then rebuy stone. I'm getting 1 more stone, but there's a lot of thought and planning to make that stuff happen.
And you need that stone a lot of times, so you kind of have to...
That's what I think the problem is. It is required to... If you're not doing that and your opponent is, you will lose, right? They will be the one that's more efficient. So I don't know. That's my one hesitation with the game, is there is so much thinking.
Pat, thanks for being here.
Stop and let me think. For what is really just something very minimal, but you have to do it over and over again. Every single time you draw a card and you think and you plan and you stage, and really you're looking at 4 cards and thinking, what am I doing the next 4 turns? And then I'm going to draw a card, and does that change it? Do I need to place this one before that one?
Yeah, and I mean it's one that, like you said, I would never play this at 4. more to touch on that, but like, I wouldn't do it with more because every move that somebody else makes affects you also. Like, even if it's not directly like what you were going to do, the board state changed and you need to be aware of what changed because you might need to do that action 2-3 turns from now, right? So if you're playing with 2 people, not as bad. When you're playing with 3, there's no way for you to plan ahead. If you're playing with 4, even worse, right?
Yeah. I mean, think about the scribes for a 4-player game.
Yeah.
You do not add any more tiles, right?
Yep.
And those tiles are relatively crucial. And so it might be a person is placed here and then somebody went on top of them, and now, you know what, I should go on top to spend my gold to get that power.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to go there. I was going to build on the wall, but I really want that one.
But I want that power, and I know it's not coming back to me. I know with 3 other people going, somebody's going to take that power now that it opened up.
But what I really like about those scrolls there is that changes the game significantly from playthrough to playthrough, right? The playthrough that we had here, the one that we're talking about, I feel like a lot of those scrolls we hadn't seen, and they didn't really synergize that well together. So it was like, how am I going to focus on one action and get the most out of that action with these trash tiles, right?
Yeah.
And so again, you know, as you're playing through the game, you're trying to decipher, okay, am I going to get the 2 victory points from this altar here? Or do I go to this little scroll over here and I know I can get 2, or I know I can get 3. Is it worth it? Can I get more than that kind of thing, right? So, yeah, it's really interesting. I really enjoy it. I think it's a really good game. But with you, I think the 2 to 3 player count is a good player count for it.
I think ultimately this thing will probably settle for me being like my favorite of the ancient anthology games, but probably sitting below most of the directional games. Like,
yeah, I
think it'd being above a couple of them.
It's like right in the middle, pretty much.
But I just think like it's above a Raiders for me. It's probably above a Legacy of You. Definitely above Hadrian's Wall, right?
Yeah.
But it's below a Scholars or a Wayfarers or a
Architects.
You know, see, that's the one I was thinking. Like, where does it sit with Architects?
Yeah.
I think Architects with Expansion is a fantastic game. And I do enjoy that solo, so it probably sits below there.
I think the solo for this game is more for kind of like what we talked about with like Distilled, is just try something different because it's not going to get in your way. So it's like, you know what, I don't explore the blue. Let me explore that a little bit more, see what that can do for me.
But that's 3 playthroughs, truthfully, right?
That's true, yeah. That's true. Yeah, I mean, but the board state is changed, right? But I guess it won't be that much.
Yeah, like me personally, I don't see that. I need somebody that's smart, that sees that scroll tile is worth taking and doesn't, at least my solo playthrough, right? Like I was able to like, oh, I'm going to get this scroll and this scroll and this scroll.
That's
and
true.
Then I'm super powerful, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's just going to do something.
It's just going to do whatever.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Well,
so I don't care if there's an easy and a hard and it scored, I don't even know what scores are, 60 and 100 or whatever they are. Like, I don't really care about that. I'm thinking this thing literally didn't do one thing that affected me the entire game.
I can see that. Well, and immediately after we played, you had asked me, you said, what do you feel now about the replayability of the game? And I remember I told you, well, this is the highest score I've ever gotten in this game, so I'm still learning it, right?
Yeah.
When you pretty much, I've read most
like
scores are
120,
about,
right?
I've read most high scores are 120. Like that is that's like almost a top of the high score.
I'm telling you,
right?
I had scrolls that synergized and it was great.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Board Then Play, no, not as complicated as Paladins. It's thinky. Again,
it's
Paladins,
not a hard game to play.
Absolutely. Paladins is very wide open. I think Paladins, fantastic game. Paladins Paladins is thinky because you can really extend your round by doing these really cool things. Let's put it that way, right? Like I'm gonna take this townsfolk. It's gonna let me get this. I'm gonna pray here so I can do it again. So now I've gotten that bonus twice, and I can do all this really cool stuff and really extend your round, right? This, you're playing 6 cards no matter what.
And there is no combos.
Yeah, it's did you come out with an extra 2 wood and 1 stone because of it, right? Or were you able to collect enough coins to flip a development? Because like it's very minor tweaks, but it's a whole lot of thought. And again, if I'm doing that and Paul's not, like I will win because I was the more efficient one.
And that's kind of what the AI does, is it's not doing that.
Yeah, it's not doing that. It's just doing random stuff.
So, but I mean, to kind of touch on that a little bit more, like I think Paladins, Ezra and Nehemiah, Scholars, Wayfarers, maybe not Wayfarers as much, maybe not Scholars either, but definitely like a Paladins or Ezra and Nehemiah, they're easy games to play, right? It's you do this to do this to do this. That's what it is. They're not easy to play good.
Yeah.
You have to be able to plan out your moves very early on in order to have a successful turn. Because you can have a turn where you're pretty much not doing anything. In order to have a successful turn, you have to really be deliberate in what you're doing and really like plan for it and make it the most efficient. So
yeah, I agree. It's they're easy to play, but they're not. That doesn't mean they're not for non-gamers.
And that's what I said.
They are for gamers. Like non-gamers would not enjoy like an Ezra and Nehemiah.
Like for me, there's a lot of difference between a weight of a game that's hard mechanically and that's hard strategically. And I think these are hard strategically, not mechanically.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
So okay, that was Ezra and Nehemiah. A lot of talk, so it must be decent.
Pat, you are going to Pennsylvania. You get to take the wife and two younglings to watch the dog. How long are you in Pennsylvania for?
Yeah, so Board Then Play. Paladins, that's interesting that you find it easier than some of the others. I want to know what other ones you're talking about. Are you specifically talking about the South too? Because if so, I can see that for sure. But if you're talking about the other West Kingdoms, I actually don't see that. I think Architects and Viscounts are significantly easier to play.
Which one's rated harder? Is it Paladins or Scholars or Wayfarers?
I don't remember. I think Scholars slightly. I mean, all 3 of those are pretty. Yeah, the South. So the difference is Paladins is relatively clear cut on how to score points, right? You fortify, and you've done it so many times, you score points, right? You garrison, you do the
conversions,
commission, or whatever. Yeah. It's very clear on how your points are scored. Both those games that you talked about, it is not very clear. Wayfarer is completely wide open sandbox game. You really choose how you're going to score, right? Are you going to build out this landscape kind of relatively evenly and score off your landscape cards? Are you going to focus on something and score that space card that, is the multiplier score for that? Are you going to get a bunch of tiles and townsfolk and, try and score that way? So it's not clear, right? And you can do a whole lot of moves in that game that aren't actually scoring points. And then there is this deception where, because you have this track across the middle and the game ends when you get to the end of the track, that, let me progress this track, right? But ultimately, you can push that track and you're actually scoring very little points. Not a whole lot of points come off of that track. So you have to know how you're going to score in that, right? Yeah. And figure that out and make it work. Scholars is a little different in that Scholars, the overarching goal is, yes, to translate scrolls, right? Because that is what gives you your victory point conditions. But the problem is, like, I could do a game where I translate the most scrolls. I'm going to translate 8 scrolls throughout the game, right? And Paul's only going to translate 3 or 4. But if my 8 don't synergize with what I've actually done in the game, then they're going to score very low. Whereas Paul, his 3 all synergize with the tracks he did, or with the dice he collected, or with whatever the case is. And so he outscores me, even though
you did more.
I thought the goal of the game was to translate scrolls, and I translated scrolls. So you can't just like willy-nilly go translate scrolls. You have to be very deliberate. Oh, I want to send this scroll over to the House of Wisdom because I like that scoring condition, and I'm going to translate that scroll.
Yeah, it's going to take this bump and that.
And then that's going to go, because I already had 2 purple dice, I'm going to try and collect another purple dice, right? And then, oh, this also goes with that same track that was already working, so I'm going to do this scroll too, right? And so I think that is why you would say you find Paladins simpler, because it's not a simple game by any means, but it's very clear. Okay, I'm going to fortify, right? I'm going to build my developments on fortified, and I'm going to fortify and pray, and fortify and pray, and I'm going to do that several times, and I get my points, right? And then all of that is bumping up tracks that also give you points.
So looking at the ratings on BGG, it's Paladins is like a 3.7, Wayfarers is like 3.8, and then Scholars is like a 4.4 or 4.04. To me, between Wayfarers and Scholars feels like the easier game for what you were saying, because it's not so open-ended. Like, yes, you do need to translate scrolls, but the scrolls tell you what you need to synergize with. In Wayfarers, it is just completely open. It's just, you can do whatever you want. And again, going back to what we were originally talking about, that's not hard mechanically, right? Oh, I'm going to build this beautiful looking tableau, but to make it synergize, that's the hard part of the game, right? And that's how you get those more actions that like you would do in Paladins, and those extra actions build on top of each other, and you can get more. So I don't know. I just think they're more straightforward. This is how you get points. That's what makes them easier. So
also, the last thing I'll say, then we can move on to Faraway, is the overall mechanics of worker placement. Paladins, very simple. It's I place these workers on this spot, versus the 2 different types of dice manipulation you have to do makes it where, like, okay, so maybe I know what I'm trying to do, but how do I do it with these dice? Whereas versus, oh, well, I'm gonna put 2 workers here, and I'm gonna do that. So anyway, great question. Sorry if I just rambled.
We just rambled there. But Far Away.
Far Away, not Faraway.
Yeah, Far Away. This is a newer game that actually I think it's a newer game. Anyway, it's like it's interesting. It's I guess it's a tableau builder. You have these little cards, and on the cards you have specific resources. I don't know what they're called, but there's blue, red, green, yellow. There's night, there's day, there's all those kind of stuff. I thought you were putting thumbs up because I didn't call the resources what they are. I just said blue, red, green, because that's what you do anyway. Yeah. So you draft these cards and you place them out in a tableau from left to right. And so the first one will say, like, it's got like a pineapple symbol or the yellow symbol, whatever it is. And then on the bottom, it's got a little scoring requirement that says, for the amount of red symbols, you get 1 victory point. Draft some cards, you play the next one, and it's got a symbol, so on and so forth, right? At the very end of the game, or once you've played all of your cards out, you score backwards. So the first card that you score is the last card that you played, and it can say, like, 1 victory point for every red one that you had. Well, you had to have been playing some red ones in order to score that card at the end. So it's really tricky to look at your hand and determine, do I want to play this now? Because if you play lower cards, you get other bonuses and stuff like that. But it's like, do I hold on to this and wait till the very end? Is this one going to score me a lot of points if I play it at the very beginning? So it's got this whole timing mechanism that's really cool in the card game. And again, just that scoring backwards makes it a lot more interesting than just, this is the first one that I played, this is the first one that I scored. It makes it a little bit more interesting, and it's a fun one to kind of puzzle out and just determine.
Do you refresh your hand or draw cards?
You do draw cards. Yeah. So I think you have
No, I was just curious if it was like you get this hand of cards and it's an efficiency puzzle, or you're getting
new cards.
fresh.
Yeah, you're getting stuff, new cards into your hand. And like I said, if you play like a card that's like a lower number than the one before, you get certain, I think they call them totems. They might not be totems, but it's like more resources or more symbols. So it's like, oh, now this card can use these ones too to kind of build off on there. And then some other cards have requirements that you need in order to score them. So like, in order to score this card, I need a blue and a red, and I need to have that before I score it. So, you know, if you play that, you know that you have to play those resources later on. So it's a really cool way to do that kind of mechanic, and really enjoyed it. It's a fun one.
Okay. Framework. Did you play this or I play this?
I played this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I've played this.
No, I played Framework. We've talked about it. Was it last month that you played it? You played it recently too, which is what made me want to play it.
I played this in December.
Oh wow, that was a long time ago. Okay. Well, it made me want to play it. Framework is a UE Rosenberg game that has nothing to do with farming. It has nothing to do with any of his other games that he has. Frames. It's just these frames. So on your turn, you have a bag full of frames. You draw how many ever players there are plus one, and it's just these little squares. And on the squares, you've got a bunch of different symbols. So some of the symbols can be these different types of frames. You have gold ones, wood ones, green, red. And then there's little cylinders in there that say like 3 gold. So what you want to do is you want to, Framework versus Pipeline. Haven't played Pipeline. But you have, you place one of the frames and then you want to have that many connecting numbers next to it. Not that many connecting numbers, that many connecting frames next to it. And what it does cool is it's got this like adjacency rule to where it's like a, what would you call that? Like a connected adjacency. Like if it's adjacent to something else and it's adjacent to that, it counts. And so anytime you complete one of those goals, you have a little cylinder and you place it on that tile. And it's really a race to who can get rid of all their cylinders first. But it's interesting because there's no set game space. It's just kind of place it how you think the best way you can place it is. You're not going to score all of the challenges, so you kind of have to go for the ones that you think are going to give you the most oomph for your placement or whatever. But it's fun. It's a really good one.
Yeah, I think Framework is completely fantastic. You can teach non-gamers and anybody can play. And there is enough thinking and strategy for a person like me to really enjoy. So sitting over here if you were looking.
No, I was looking for, I thought that was Pipeline, but it's not. It's Curious Cargo.
Hadrian's Wall. I did this toward the beginning of the month. Did you play
Hadrian's
Wall?
I did not, no.
I'm so close to being done. Never playing this game again. I did Fort 11, I believe. I have finally hit where you draw extra picked attacks.
It's kind of like the randomness of the game.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because it matters a lot in the beginning, but not a lot by the end of the game, at least for me.
Yeah, no, right? I agree with that.
Anyway,
yeah, it's really like the first or second years. If you're good, you're pretty good.
I think I actually probably could tell you really fast, but I don't think I can't tell you really fast. It's underneath this. I think I had a lot of disdain. Oh, maybe it was Fort 12. Maybe this was
Fort 12. There you go.
Anyway, I think I had a lot of disdain. That's what I remember. Yeah, and you have to end with no disdain for the bonus. So I had to build the baths to clear it off. You know, it wasn't bad. I think you had to score 70. I scored 74. So you're always going to score lower because you're having more picked attacks. So I'm kind of at like this point now because I think there's 16 forts. So if that was 12, it means I got 4 left. I think of these last 4, 3 more do that same mechanic. So it's like I've kind of peaked out on scoring, right? So I'm ready to finish this thing and never play this game
again. Be done with it?
Yeah.
Pat, there is a lot for Hadrian's Wall. I don't recommend the game at multiplayer.
Yeah, we played it at multiplayer. never again. And
unless you legitimately just want to both play solo next to each other, I don't think there's any reason to play multiplayer.
No, I mean, I would say you should play multiplayer at that point, right?
I mean, but
why wouldn't you play? What's the difference, right?
But it's the trading, right? You get a resource.
That's what I mean. So you should just, if you're going to play next to each other, do what?
I guess you do trade. Yeah.
If you're going to play next to each other, you might as well play. No, the reason is because on the turn that like I am doing a lot of thought and like, okay, this is my turn to really like combo a lot of actions because that's the way my things chain out, right? Paul's going to sit there, right? And then the next turn, maybe all my resources go to building the big whatever temple or big couple items. So I'm just quickly building my things on my next round. But that round, Paul is comboing a ton of stuff. And so now I'm sitting there for, we'll call it 10 minutes while Paul's thinking. And it's just, it becomes very async that way.
I'm trying to figure out.
That is why I personally just wouldn't play with other people.
I've had 27 plays of this game. My average time, because I'm guaranteed yours is way longer, my average time is an hour 20. Actually, yours might not be much more than that.
Honestly, this one here, I think I played it in like 40 minutes. I will say, now that I know the game, I can get this thing done in even with whatever the scenario is, I get this thing done blast and quick, right? I literally have to put no thought because I know how the mechanics work, right? So instead of like me having to think, oh, what's going to happen when I do this stuff, I just know it and like.
So remember, that's what I said when I said my top favorite roll and writes, right? That's what I said, like a game that I don't need to like think about. It's just because you know what. Like,
well, yeah, but this is.
I mean, you still have to think about it. Obviously,
this is more because of the experience I have. I know how these. Like,
that's what I meant when I play that game.
How this is going to pan out, right?
Yeah.
So.
No, that's what I meant with it. I do think it's better solo.
Yeah, I agree
for sure.
We played it once multiplayer, and I haven't played 20. I've played probably, I'm gonna say, 2 or 3 times before doing the campaign, so I'd be at 14 or 15. High Society. This was actually a fun game. I got completely trounced. My score was -4, and you're not supposed to go negative in this game. This is not a game that like people end up negative. Okay, you don't. You end up with points. I did not. It is a auction game. I hate auction games, but I like this one. But I'm also no good at auction games, obviously, because I was -4. So it had this really neat mechanic. Everybody starts with tons of money, right? You're all high society people, and you're bidding on these cards. They're numbered 1 through 10. And there's a couple multiplier cards that you also bid on, and then there's a couple setback cards, negative cards that you're bidding not to take. Right?
Yeah.
That's how the game's played. So you're bidding on trying to get the most points. With one caveat, the person with the least amount of money at the end of the game automatically loses.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to bid on the 10 and the 9 and the 8 and spend all my money, because the person who has, and that right there created like just so much tension. And in the game, knowing that, oh, so like, for example, Lacey was the one in our game that ended up being the least amount of points or least amount of money, but she had the most value. Like, if that wasn't the case, she would have won the game because she had the most valuable worth of stuff. But it was just like, and it came down to like the last one. And so it was really cool. The scores aren't like super high because one person's getting kicked out. And then they had these setbacks. And so the way the setbacks worked are you're bidding not to take it, right? So like, I could bid 10,000.
After the Empire or whatever it is, Empire's End. Right, bidding to not take the catastrophe.
Yeah, except for like everybody. So if I bid 10,000, you bid 15, and then 20, and then 25, and then it comes around to me, and I bid 30, right? And then you pass. We all have to pay that amount of money, so we lose it. You didn't. You got this little setback thing, and there's only 3 of them. Anyway, point is, I actually, for me not liking bidding games, for me getting completely destroyed in it, I thought it was actually a really decent game. I had heard about this game, and
I think it's a Reiner Knizia game.
It most definitely is.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it. I don't know, and it was quick. It was very quick, but it had this really cool. Also, during the bidding, you can't pull up your money, and so it's in these like odd denominations from 1 million all the way to you have one that's like 25 million, right? So if I bid, I use an 8 million. When it comes back around to me and I need to outbid, now I have to add things to it.
Okay.
And that's another way you're like.
So you're not like, I'm going to add 17 million and put your 25 million out there.
Well, yeah. Like I can't take back the 8 million and then beat yours. So now it's like, okay, I bid 8, 10, 12, 14, and it's back around to me. Maybe my only way to beat it is to either spin lots of my low and I get rid of those, or I have to put a 20 million. So I went from 14 million to 28 million. There was a lot of cool things to this game.
Interesting.
I just don't know how to play it well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So is this? He's seen the teal cover. I was trying to find it over here.
About to join a game.
I don't know which one it is.
I've only seen. Wait. Oh, yeah. This is the teal cover is the newest version of it. This one that I have is an older version. Identical games. I don't know that they've changed a single thing other than that. But the one that's teal and it's a bit taller instead of longer. It's just newer version of the game.
Raising Robots. Haven't heard of that one, I don't think. Kinfire Delve Scorns Scourge or something like that. Scorns Scour or something.
Something. Yeah. While you're talking, I have to be right back.
Go ahead. So this game is a solo only, well, it's not solo only. It's a cooperative game that I guess you can play with up to as many characters as you have. There's a bunch of different of these boxes. They each come with 2 characters. So if you have 2 boxes, you can play with 4 players. If you play solo, you can play with both characters. But I got to solo this one. And it is I don't want to say a dungeon crawler, but it is in a way, it sort of is. So it's a deck of cards. And in this deck of cards, you have different types of things on there. You have attacks, you have maybe some monuments, I think is what they're called. And you just have different things. So in the center of the board, or on the center of your table, you have Scorn, I think who it is. You have the big bad, and you're trying to get down this well. You're going down this well to try to defeat this person. And around it, you have 4 different cards. And so in your hand, you have cards that are different colors. So let's say above the big bad, there is a red attack card. And in your hand, you have a red attack card. And so you can play that. And on there, you've got like you've got a color or something like that. And so if it's red, you can attack the red card. You have dice, you roll the dice, and you can succeed. And then you can attack it kind of thing and defeat it. So anytime you defeat those cards around it, it tells you to delve down this deck. So it can say like go 4 more. So you take 4 off the top of the deck and you destroy it. Once you go through that entire deck, then you flip over the big bad and then you put some kind of bosses around it and you have to defeat those before you defeat it. Anyway, it's a fun game. It was enjoyable. I will only ever play it solo, just because we've talked about it before. We're not very good at cooperative games. It was very difficult. It was very hard. It's definitely a lot easier if you play with more people. But with this one, you only have 10 health, and a lot of those cards remove your health, and there's not a lot of ways to get it back. But it was fun. It was enjoyable. It's an easy card game. It doesn't take up a ton of space. It's not one that I'm going to gravitate towards a lot. But yeah, it's a decent game we got on here.
Yeah, I've looked into this before and realized it was not a game I would ever enjoy playing. So
yeah.
I didn't get into it. The racing robots, you have kind of sold me on at least checking it out. So I'm going to remember to do that because I like Wingspan. I like running the engine part of Wingspan the most. And I would like something slightly heavier than Wingspan. So I'm definitely going to check that out for sure. It looks like Patrick's going to buy this.
Pat, I definitely think this is a game that you would enjoy for sure. Yeah, I think it's a good game for what you would be into. From what I've heard and from what I've seen you play, I think that is one that you would enjoy. It was fine. It was a decent game.
Mexican Train. So I should say really quick, when I played High Society, and people were like, Devin never plays a game like that. It is because I went on a family vacation with my family, my in-laws, and my sister-in-law. I guess that's part of my in-laws. And we play games like this, like that, and like this.
Did they enjoy High Society? I know.
Yeah, very much. Very much.
Okay. You played that one too, right? We haven't talked about Parade?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was this time or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
They very much enjoyed it. They were really into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it worked great, right? I'm telling you, I could, now having played it, I could teach that game to 3 people.
High Society
in 3 minutes time we're playing. Like there's just hand you your stacks of cash and then we're starting to play.
That's like how Joe wants to explain games.
Yeah, just like that. Like, hey, we're gonna bid on this. You're trying to get the most. There's gonna be a couple negative stuff and there's gonna be a couple multipliers. Let's start bidding. Person with the least amount of cash automatically loses. Yeah. Anyway, we play Mexican Train. Mexican Train is just set. It's dominoes with the 12 up to 12. This game is a luck fiesta, but I won again. So
you won it.
Oh yeah.
Did it take hours like last time?
Yeah, longer. This one probably took. We played with 5 people, so this probably took 5.5 or so hours.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, the thing I think, right?
You're not doing anything else.
Yeah, like it's playing a game. That's my thing with time, right? I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't care that this game is going to take me 3 hours to play, right? Like I'm getting to play a game for 3 hours, right? So anyway, we did. I say 5 hours. This is the one we played with Luna sitting there, and she sat there for like 2 hours. We did have to put kids down for a nap, right? Over that course of time, Lacey had to feed Luke twice, right? Now it's her family, so she can just do it at the table. But yeah, it was. I don't know. I think Mexican Train it's for how much luck it is. There's at least enough skill in there. And you're playing 13 rounds, so like you should be able to. Actually, at the halfway point. At the halfway point, I was second to last. I had one round where here's where the luck comes in. You're trying to get rid of your dominoes and every pit value on these points. I literally drew back to back. Besides the double blank, which is 50 points, and you don't want points in this game, I didn't draw the double blank. I drew the double 12, which is 24 points, and then I drew the 12-11, and then the person went out. I did that, like, drew those, right?
Yeah.
Person went out, right? And that was 47 points that I just straight up took, and the person went out. And like that was out of was out of my control, right? And
that's the kind of random you don't like.
Yeah, something else happened, right? And so I was way down. And then we come back at, we'll call it the halfway point after putting kids down, and I'm the one that goes out like literally 4 times in a row, and had a great comeback. So that was
That's funny, Pat. You're saying all that, and so yesterday we were at 4th of July, and we were actually at my in-laws' house with my parents there, and my mom looked at me like. I don't know, it was probably, there had been wine and all that kind of stuff. My mom looked at me and she was like, go get one of your games. And I just looked at her and I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah, let's play a game. I was like, the amount of times that I have brought games to family gatherings to play with and I've been shut down, I don't do that anymore. Like that's just, I know for me, games are just, I will play solo or I will play with Karsten. I don't bring them anymore. And you're asking me to play something right now?
Yeah, I almost never bring it. I did this because it was a family trip.
Yeah.
And part of it, so this is another game we played. We played Mexican Train. Lacey's dad is not, like, he would not have enjoyed High Society. He did a simple game. You're not going to enjoy that. You can play Mexican Train, though, because, like, it's matching Mexican. I mean, it's matching domino pips, right? And I don't know. There's some neat. I like it. I grew up playing that game with my grandparents, so I have a good amount of nostalgia in playing that. So anyway, but we also played Parade. This game I had played once with Paul and Joe, and I thought, I'm going to bring this, and so we, on one of the nights, they were asking what games we want to play, and I had brought a couple different card games, and I had told them, gave them the little synopsis, right? So I had a couple different card shedding games, but I was like, this is Alice in Wonderland themed. I explained the premises, and they're like, let's try it. They thoroughly enjoyed this game.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to think. I think Lacey crushed us the first round. Literally crushed us. I want to say she got like 4 points. This is another game, like Mexican Train, where you're not trying to get points. She got like 4. I got bagged bad. And so then they were like, let's play it again. Right away, we're like,
that's awesome.
Hey, let's play this again. So we set it up again. And so then after everybody had played it once and understood how I'm going to try and collect the blacks or whatever, right? And it became much more strategic. And it became pretty close. I think I won that second one. Lacey was also very close in that one. And then I think Libby was also very close. And then Lacey's mom was out of the running on the last one.
Yeah, I remember playing this one, Joe, and I remember thinking like, oh, there's a lot of ways to kind of win it, right? Because didn't Joe like try to get every single card, like, because if you have the highest, you don't.
They're 1 point. So the game is you're building this parade, and I'm not going to go into all the mechanics, but basically you play a card at the end of the parade based off the number of the card. That many cards are protected from coming to you for points, and then everything else is potential to come to you for points. And if you match suits, if you have lower numbers, like, that's all stuff that's going to come to you. And so you can get in these positions where, like, you're trying to manipulate it, and then something happens and you have to play something and you just get a whole bunch of points. And so Joe, like, he got in this situation where he had a whole bunch of stuff, and so he was like, I'm just going to collect the most. And so instead of them being face value, if you have the most of a suit, they're only worth 1 point each, even if they're all 0 through 10. So even if you have the 10 value, it's only worth 1 point.
And I think I remember like screwing him right at the end by taking one of the colors that he had the most of and making it me the most, and then that like kind of ruined it for him or something like that. But yeah, that was a fun one. I really enjoyed that one.
Is Matt Kalla Mon Kalla with the Mad Hatter? I'm about to look this up real quick. You got me curious enough that I'm going to click away. And
I'm not sure. It might be on Kickstarter already. I'm not sure. It's a 1v1.
Then is it a Mon Kalla?
Asymmetric Battle of Wits and Lucks. We're looking at BGG right now.
I don't know.
It's made by Manny Tremblay, the guy that does Dice Throne.
Oh, is it? It's the same art as Wonderland's War.
Yeah, it's same publisher.
That's Wonderland's War. Oh well.
I guess it's coming to Kickstarter soon. Mancala with Powers.
Mancala with Powers. Mad Call Out from the makers of Wonderland's War. Interesting. That is interesting. I crushed some Mancala back when I was in 5th grade. That was my jam, putting on the NSYNC CD and crushing some people in.
We need to play. Is it 5 tribes? It's not 5 tribes. Yeah, 5 tribes. That does it. We need to try that one again, because that's I think the only game that has like a Mancala that I've played at least.
That I have.
Yeah.
I don't actually own that. Derek owns that, but anyway, 5 tribes. also a great game. So anyway, that was Parade. I don't know that I said much about it, but it was a good game. I honestly think this is a
it's a great
card game. I think it's really good.
It's really fun. For somebody that doesn't play tons of card games, I think it's a really good one.
Peaks.
We got to play Peaks this month. So Peaks is an upcoming game. It's actually on Kickstarter right now. Same people that made Nestlings. Peaks is a... What is this? It's a...
Action selection game.
Action selection.
I guess the best way to call it.
Some engine buildiness. No, not even. You're upgrading some of your actions and stuff like that. Anyway, you have this board that's got all the different continents on it. And then you've got 3 actions that you can choose from. And those 3 actions are you can rest, you can prepare, or you can climb. So on your turn, you have these cubes and you place them on whichever action you want to do. So the prepare action lets you take one of the mountain cards that are on the bottom and get some type of gear. So these mountains, a lot of the base ones don't need you to prepare very much. You just need a specific type of energy or a specific amount of energy. But some of the bigger ones you need like carabiners or hiking shoes or something like that. So that prepare action lets you kind of gather that. You have the climb action, which lets you play those mountain cards, spend that energy. And then a cool mechanic that they have on there is the tag along mechanic. So if you are climbing a mountain, anybody at the table can climb that mountain with you. And so when that happens, the energy expenditure is actually a little bit less. So it kind of benefits you in a way, not a lot, but it does give you a little benefit, but then other people can climb as well. The point of the game is I think you have 16 flags, maybe 20 flags, one of those, I don't remember. But you want to plant all of your flags first. So whenever you're climbing the mountain, there's different types of rewards. Some you might have to roll a dice to get, some you just get automatically. And you're just kind of placing those flags, climbing up those mountains. I thought it was a decent game. It's a game that I think will definitely play better than at 3 or 4 player counts. I think it goes 1 to 6. But I think like the main part of that game is this tag along mechanic, and you don't really get that with 2 players. It's really not. If you're playing with 2 players, you kind of have to do it. Or else you're going to be kind of left in the dust kind of thing. So it's a good game. It's a very light game, I would say. But I thought it was decent.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it all that much at all. I just didn't think there was enough player agency for me.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway. I had very little choice, right? It was, well, I'm going to go get energy, and then I'm going to climb this mountain. I'm going to select the best mountain for me, and then I'm going to go get energy, and I'm going to climb that mountain. And then I'm going to select the best mountain for me, and I'm going to go get energy, and I'm going to climb that mountain. And that's just what it felt. It felt like my decisions were forced.
It was very
so
looped.
I didn't really feel like there was any really choice. So just not one for me. I do think maybe that does change at a different player count, like Paul said, because
I think it does.
The decision begins to become, do I tag along or do I go do this, or do I not tag along and hope I can tag along with Paul? But look, I don't know.
One of the climb upgrades was like, if you tag along, you get to, or if somebody places a flag, you get to place a flag also.
Everybody gets to place flag.
And at 2 players, neither of us upgraded that because
it was like, well,
why am I going to do that?
Yeah, like
that legitimately only benefits you. That's not going to benefit me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think with that, and then the asymmetric player cards of starting off a little bit different, starting off with gear, that might make it a little bit better. But yeah, I think it's just one that higher player count. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Going back to 5 Tribes. 5 Tribes is an old game. I don't know how old it is, but I'm going to say 10 years, 15 years, 12 years, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
I think that 5 Tribes is a fantastic game. Early on in my hobby time, right, games like Small World, games like 5 Tribes dominated. I completely loved it. I still honestly think it's a really good game. The one problem a lot of people find with 5 Tribes is you start with the board, and I can't remember. I think it's a 5x5, something like that, right? But you start with the board and you just say go. And so even for non-AP prone players, there is a ton of AP because
I remember that.
I don't remember. Yeah. You can have 20, 25, whatever, however many boxes there are. You have that many choices. And not only do you have that many choices of what you're picking up, but then you got to drop them off and where you're actually ending up.
And which color you want to end up
Right, what color you end up and where you end up, because that's what ultimately scores your points. And so a lot of people find it very slow and AP inducing in the beginning, right? And then I cannot pre-plan because I have 2 people that go in front of me that are going to completely change the board
same kind of thing as Ezra and
before I go. So all of that said, I still very much enjoy it because it doesn't really bother me if a person takes, 7 minutes to think about the best one, because I'm going to do the same thing. So that doesn't bother me. But I think it's completely cool in just how that works and how
it's a cool mechanic.
How you drop the things off, and I'm gonna do the assassin and kill off your visor, whatever. How you can, right? It's very sandboxy. You can decide how you're going to score. Am I going to be the one that collects the most white guys, or what am I doing? And then they have the gens that you can buy that let you have different powers. So I haven't played it in a long time, so I'm probably forgetting some things, but I think it's great. I also haven't played Istanbul, so I cannot speak on which one is better there. But I think it's a great game, and I would honestly play it anytime. So
yeah.
The Quest for El Dorado, so won't talk too much about this because we just talked about it last month, but played this with Lacey.
This is what started Family Game Night.
Yeah, we played this one, actually Mexican Train, because
you're right.
was what started it. But then we decided when we got home, no problem at all. When we got home, we're like, we're going to start doing this with our daughter. So we put out Quest for El Dorado. She absolutely loved it. Really, what she loved the most was playing with the little hexagon tokens that whatever,
the caves or whatever,
cave tokens, that like are such a minimal part of it, right? But this is when we learned she needs her own little player strip. She had a good time sitting there. It was very much better than our game. It was tight. We came down to we both finised at the exact same time, nice. And it was the tiebreaker, and the tiebreaker is who has broken the most.
She didn't let you get all the whatever cards. I don't even remember what they were.
We both raced relatively evenly. What happened on this one? Oh, no, we both had draw cards.
No.
I don't know. I don't remember. Lacey and I have played a decent amount of this back in the day, not recently. But we actually went online and found like a map maker, and they got a ton of maps. They have split paths. That's awesome. And that part's really cool. And I enjoyed that a whole lot. Lacey shed most of her hand, but I was drawing a lot. I think that's what it was. So like we were both like churning through the cards that we wanted. I don't know how the expansions are. I want to get one. I want to get the one that like you're in El Dorado and you have to like go collect the things and then come to the finish. But I've never played it. I've only honestly ever just played base. I don't play it like, I don't chain plays. I happen to play this 2 months in a row. I don't typically chain plays to where I can just play it and do something different, this time by the native, next time, by the 6 or 5 machetes or whatnot. But it's a good game. So
Silver and Gold. Another roll and write.
Another roll and write. I think this will probably go down as my top quick filler roll and write.
Okay.
That's all it is. It is a little bit what did I describe it as? A little bit cartographers, a little
Welcome
bit
to, is that what you said?
The one you're making tacos. What was that? Oh,
I
don't have it anymore. Taco.
We're in the game. I don't remember.
Tacos.
I can look it up.
Anyway, this is the pyro. Is this pirate themed?
Quantos Tacos. Good job, Shelby.
Tacos.
Look
Thank
at you,
Shelby. So this is a little bit cartographers, a little bit Quantos Tacos. Like if those two games made it, this is what would come out of it.
Very basic.
Yeah, you have, just like cartographers, you have the little Tetris piece symbols that are going to be drawn out, all but one of them in a deck of 9. You're going to fill out maps, and when you complete one, like Quantos Tacos, you're going to draft another one, and that's it. I mean, literally, that is the game. I taught Paul we could play it right now. It's as simple as that. They have point values, just like in Quantos Tacos. It's most points. There's a slight additional type of thing in there, and then there's like collecting coins and other stuff. I would say the coin part I thought was pretty cool. It was this, we'll call it race mechanic, where the first to get 4 gets the most victory points, and then the next, and then the next. I think I won.
It's 100% a pirate game.
Because it's like treasure.
Yeah, it's treasures. Yeah.
Okay. I think I won, but what I do remember is Lacey and I did wildly different things, and we were both within 1 point.
Yeah.
It was like, whatever, I was 16, she was 61.
You also definitely have the German copy of this game.
I do.
All in German.
Yeah, the whole thing is.
Yeah, this whole thing was German.
But like, you don't, the thing is, the cards don't matter, right? Like, this is the cards, so it did, like, it doesn't matter, right? And this is the symbols that you get. But yeah,
he's got the English rules here, because this is legitimately.
Yeah, so
this is
I
all
mean,
German.
Literally, this is what you're playing with, so nothing has text on it at all.
Okay.
Right, and then one of these. This is the like
the score tracker or whatever
thing.
Nice.
Yeah. Play 4 rounds of drawing all but 1 card, and that's it.
Well, I do know
silver and gold.
I think there's a second one, or at least there's an expansion to it that I've heard makes it really good. Based on the box art a little bit, yeah, it definitely is.
I'm telling you, it's. I'm not, first and foremost, I'm not saying like go out and buy this game by any means, but for a filler rolling right, this will take the spot. I think cartographers, welcome to, all those are better rolling rights, but if you want a quick fill, I mean, truly, I just explained it. Any of us could play it. So that was it.
Trailblazers. I'm still working on my Trailblazers campaign. I'm still failing at my Trailblazers campaign. Still can't break 50. I don't know what it is.
Perfect setup.
It's got to be. Yeah, I don't know. Still can't break it, but that's beside the point. I actually only played it solo once. Like you had mentioned earlier, my anniversary was last month, and Kirsten and we went out to some local bar, and I brought a couple games. This was one. I actually was going to buy Sky Team. I went up to our local board game shop, and I was going to buy Sky Team, but they didn't have it, so I couldn't buy that. But like I said, I brought Trailblazers with us. I taught her the game. Super easy to teach, super easy to play, very portable. But basically, you have 4 rounds. Each round you get 8 little cards, and the cards are just like real skinny trail cards. And you've got 3 camps. So you have a hiking camp, a biking camp, and a kayaking camp. So at the original, or on the first turn, you place one of your camps, and then you try to connect trails from it, leaving one place and returning to the next. However far your trail is that's how many victory points you get. So you do that for 4 turns. You draft cards back and forth, and then you just go from there. So it's a really fun one. It can be very sprawling. It can cause a lot of AP. Going back to kind of what we talked about before, the game is very mechanically easy, but strategically it's pretty deep, because you can overlay cards and you can have them go so many different directions. But yeah, it's a really fun one. Really enjoy Trailblazers, and just keep on playing.
Okay.
Yep.
You also did Viscounts.
Oh, I also did Viscounts. This one was done at the very beginning of the month, and I remember saying last month when I got Architects to the table, what I don't enjoy about these games is the setup. And not the setup, it's the rule books. It's the fact that there's so much stuff and it's all so spread out that it's hard to remember. And this one is the worst of all of them.
This is for sure the worst.
Because Architects, at least we have the playmat and there is a specific place for everything. This one does not. Anyway, Viscounts of the West Kingdom, it's the third in the West Kingdom trilogy. This is my favorite one of all of them. I don't even know how to explain the game. There is so many different mechanics. You have a tableau, you are building up a deck, and you are just playing those cards. Each of those cards lets you move around a little rondelle in the center of the board. And they give you specific actions, either immediate or ongoing, or whenever they fall off your tableau. You can hire different townsfolk, like every single Garfield game that you have. And my favorite thing about this one, and it's what I always do, it's just the castle in the middle. I just love going in that castle. But actually on this gameplay, I decided to go heavy building. Building is generally the one that I ignore the most.
It's most fun.
Yeah, that's why you lose every time we play. But I decided...
It's called an unbalanced game right there.
I don't know about that. Maybe. I don't know.
I actually read, real quick, side note, I actually read it was unbalanced until the expansions.
Yeah.
They said it was like clearly building was not a winning strategy.
And then they added all the ones. It actually heavily, from my understanding, favored manuscripts now. I think manuscripts are the heaviest.
It is still, from what I've read, not totally balanced, because if you just go straight manuscripts and anybody does anything different, then you will win out. But buildings are
the weakest.
A viable option now compared to
so how before. I've always played it is buildings. I always go buildings first, because that's gonna
you have to build, right? Like a couple, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you just completely ignore it.
So for me, like how I always played it was the buildings was just the auxiliary. Like that was just the, I need to get these out because it's going to give me these symbols, right? I definitely think the manuscript AI is the hardest AI, because I do think manuscripts, I mean, with all the set collection that goes on there, all the extra abilities that it gives you, all the end game victory points that it gives you, that is definitely the strongest one. But yeah, anyway, I went heavy buildings on this one. And of course the castle, just because that's my favorite part of the game. And actually used the village, the public buildings, right? I barely ever do those ones. So I thought that was really cool, where you trade one out and you put one of those. So I don't know, I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Again, the hardest thing with this game is just getting it all out, getting it all set up, just because there's so much to it. But it flows really well. I don't think I would ever play it without the expansions. It's just a good game.
Yeah, I'll answer Michael's question there. I think of all of the West Kingdom games, this one, the expansions are the least essential. But I would always play with them because I have them and I enjoy the game enough that, like, I just want that more.
You just won't win with the buildings.
I don't think they're essential by any means.
Yeah, I don't think they're essential. I actually barely ever interact with the outsiders that much. It's the ones that give you like end game victory points kind of stuff. If you have this many things, go with that. Those ones, I feel like that is probably the least essential expansion. I don't remember what expansion adds what. I don't remember if that's what adds the keeper of keys, the treasures at the bottom. I don't know if that's what adds the public buildings.
The treasures. So the treasures.
Oh, I guess that's keepers of keys.
The treasures and the public buildings and the changing of the tower leader.
Oh yeah.
Are one.
Okay.
And then the other is the little tomes and the outsiders.
The tomes.
And the.
What are the tomes?
The tome to get the outsiders, whatever it is.
The King's Orders. The King's Orders. Keeper of Keys is the one that I would recommend if you're going to get one. Gates of Gold is fine, but it's the one that I interact with the least.
Yeah. But I think my thing with the building is it is like an end game strategy, and all the others are just like, I'll just go get some points in there.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I'm like, I want to build this in-game system and this engine. So yeah. I will always do it because I don't think the castle is fun for me.
Yeah, and that for me is fun because, like we've mentioned before, I like that. I like seeing what I'm doing and all the bumping and then the getting the this, and it's like, ooh, now these ones get to move here.
Oh, I
this
gotta do
goes
this,
here,
and then I gotta do this, and then I gotta do this,
and then I get to be the castle leader and all that, and yeah, board them play. Not tomes. It's the king's orders. That's what we mean.
So,
but yeah, that I think that's it.
No, one more.
One more.
Wingspan.
You must have done this one.
Yeah, this was the last game that we played on our little trip. In down to Port A. Not going to talk much about it because we played it also last month. Wingspan is a great game. I lost really not good. Lacey beat me, and I don't understand. Actually, I do understand. I had a really good beginning engine. Lacey had a great egg engine toward the end of it, right? And so I had a bunch of tucked cards, and she had eggs, and I was tucking cards, and it was great, and it just didn't turn out great.
It didn't work out.
My problem was I built my engine on the food, on the top tree area. So in the last round, it was not super effective. It was great because I would go there and I'd get a bunch of food, and then I could build another burn, and it worked really well because every time I was going up there, I was scoring points. I was cashing stuff. I was tucking stuff. It was great. Anyway, she beat me. Libby played. Libby enjoyed it for.
That's good.
For what it was, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And what she did not like was there was not enough direct player conflict.
She did not like that?
Yeah.
You're like, please don't put that in my game.
I was like, that's why.
I do not want you to take my eggs from me.
Because Lacey and I, when we play games, we don't touch each other.
Yeah.
We just go do our own thing, and
that's so funny.
What we like. But yeah, she's
like, let's make this King of Tokyo.
Yeah. And Libby plays a whole lot of things like Hearts and Spades and those kind of games that it is all about
sticking you with something.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Poker, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what she wants, right? High Society was that way, right? Parade was that way.
Yeah.
So but that was Wingspan for us. So
yeah, I think after our last playthrough of Wingspan, it elevated it a little bit more.
I also love Wingspan. I think it's a fantastic game. I will always like it, even if there's not a ton of meat on the bone. It's just quick. I can build my little engine. I hopefully build the best one. And to me, I like it, and then do it again. So
yeah, that's why can't the birds punch each other? They would peck each other's eyes out. Yeah. It'd be the movie The Birds.
Yeah, more player. I'm gonna throw this egg at you.
Yeah. Gonna hatch it, and it's a eagle.
Yeah. So that was our list. That was
our games. So. Yeah. Actually, and then I did play a couple games with my daughter. We didn't put it on here, but I tried doing some imagination play, is what we called it. So I don't know what it was. It was at the beginning of the month. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and I just got into Angry Birds. I like that. I just got into this I am going to become this DM and just DM a game of whatever for my daughter, and this is going to be my whole thing and my dream in life now.
Real quick. Paul has never played a
I've never played
RPG.
Yeah. No, I've never
have. He decided he is going to DM a campaign for his daughter. So anyway.
So that's so now I'm just again, it's probably 11 o'clock at night, and I'm delusional, but I'm just my dream in life now is to DM a game for her and her two best friends from school that she always talks about. So I went on this just giant search trying to find kids tabletop RPGs and stuff like that, and I actually found one. Anyway, long story short, basically the next day I was just okay, we're just going to play Imaginations, and you are this princess. And I used a bunch of little villainous tokens, right? Because she loves Disney stuff. So on this little map that I had, there was a river, so I put Ursula there. And I'm just oh, we have to cross over this bridge to Ursula stole a gem or something like that. So what are you going to do? But she was just going crazy. She was just like, my eagle's gonna go and destroy it. And I'm like, okay, roll your dice. And so she would roll and, get upset when she'd roll a 1 or whatever. So it kind of went off the rails, but she really enjoyed it. And like almost every day this month, she's been like, can we do imaginations? And I'm just like, I don't have any more imagination.
Yeah,
I can't.
I used everything.
Yeah, let me go chat GPT something real quick and then we can figure it out. So she absolutely loved that. That was a ton of fun. You DM'd with her daughter. She befriended wolves and mauled everyone. Yeah, we have a daily calendar, which I don't know where you're at on it.
I'm behind.
I'm in April on it. Anyway, whenever I pull that out, my daughter loves to go with me. And I've told Devin and Joe, I'm sitting at -4 virtue because she just wants to steal from everybody and attack them. I'm just like, these are our options. We can help them, we can convince them to do something, or we can attack them. She's just like, attack. I'm like, no. Every time I roll my dice now, it's worse because of you. So we got to do that. Got to play some First Orchard. Really enjoyed that. And then actually tomorrow we're celebrating her birthday. And I bought her my first Castle Panic. Have you seen that one? Mm-hmm. So it's a co-op. You are in a castle and you're trying to defend it from the oncoming orcs and elves and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's just like matching shapes, right? So you just have a deck of a hand of cards. And if there's an orc on the green hexagon and you have that, you can play it and you can kind of defeat it. So I'm going to give that to her and see how it goes. So I think it should be fun.
I played my standard, how many days we're in this month? 30, so we'll say 29 plays of First Orchard and Near Fishy Fishy.
Yeah.
And we did play Hungry Hippos, which slapped for him. So she absolutely loved that.
She loved that one?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is at least these two games, she knows what's happening. Yeah. That one she doesn't know what's happening.
She's just banging the hippos.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw that email that they sent out. I thought it was funny that they sent out. So you're not getting the emails. I am.
Yeah, it's on yours.
Dice Stone. They sent out a thing that was like, "Hey guys, we're getting delayed. We wanted to send out an update by the end of the month." This was June 30th. They're like, "We just wanted to send out an update before the end of the month, just to let everybody know there's been a couple delays." That was the entire email. And it was just like, are you serious? Like, that's the email?
Yeah, that's...
So I think they sent one out yesterday or the day before, and they're like, hey guys, we want to kind of clarify on this email. It's going okay. It's just everybody didn't want the clown, so now we have to make like new renders for this mold. So that's what's taking like more time, kind of thing. Oh. But it was just super funny. Just like the email, it seemed like, hey guys, it's gonna be delayed. Okay, bye. Yeah. So I don't know. That was super funny.
Delayed? Year delayed?
Exactly. Exactly. That's what it seemed like.
I've had those Kickstarters.
Yeah. You still don't have those Kickstarters.
Yeah. Now you know what? I think I have all of my long-awaited Kickstarters at this point. So.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but yeah, that was everything. That was it. Pretty good month. This next month for me is not going to be as good, just because I fly out of the country on Thursday. So Devin's going to be holding the fort down here, doing a couple solo plays.
Yeah, y'all get to watch some crunchy solo plays.
There you
Heads
go.
down. Don't talk to me.
But still be here.
Yeah, be here. But don't expect me to talk back. You can talk to me.
Yeah.
Don't expect me to talk back because I'm going to be heads down thinking. And I'm looking forward to it. Also, yes, absolutely no reading. I'm not playing one game that has text.
We are going to play the driest Euro.
All pictures, no text.
Are you getting Lorenzo by that time?
So.
Probably not. No dice. Yeah. This round has no dice.
There will be no rolling dice
in this phase. Next, we will go on to phase 5, section 1.
Yeah, no reading. Actually, I've already talked about it. I believe I'm going to do Ezra and Nehemiah solo.
Mm-hmm.
Give it one more chance. And then I think I might
You said Evacuation, right?
Evacuation. I have not played it. It's got lots of symbols and pictures, no text. So it seems like a good one. unless something else jumps out. But yeah, so I think Ezra and Nehemiah most likely next week, followed by Evacuation the week after.
Yep.
And then Paul will be back, and I got to slum it with him.
Yeah, and actually, I don't... Let's see. So this month, what games do we have coming out? Our videos, we have let's see. We have Castellans coming out sometime this month. We have, Cascadero. We have an Unmatched play coming out.
It's a good one.
We have...
That's pretty close. It's very close, actually. I remember now.
Yeah, it's very close. I remember it very well. Neotopia. That's actually a game that we played a long time ago that we just have not put out in some time. But those are the games. Neotopia, Cascadero, Castellans, Unmatched, a couple of lives, and yeah. It is not Shakespeare Unmatched. I mentioned this at some point. I don't remember when. I'll get the Unmatched boxes, but it's not ones that I'm looking for. They're cool. I like them, but I'm generally only going to buy them if they're on sale, if they're on a good sale.
Plus, we like Marvel.
Yeah, and we like Marvel.
We did not play... We played one Marvel character.
We did play one Marvel
character, one not Marvel.
So. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it for the month. I am not expecting any games, I don't think. So I don't know. We'll see what's going on here. So, what did you think of Cascadero? How many players did you play it with? We played it at 2. Think it would be better at more. But yeah, what did you think of that one? There's a lot going on that board. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all we got.
Yeah, so that's...
Gonna be traveling until September. Well, enjoy your time in Pennsylvania with your wife. Should be nice.
1 day home a week. Ooh. That's like enough time to come home, throw everything in the washer and dryer, and then put it right back in the bag.
Yeah, tons of combos.
Not great at it, but lots of combos. So
yeah, yeah, that's kind of our thoughts with it. Change clothes, wash and leave.
Yeah.
So. All right, guys, we appreciate you guys being here. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. All that stuff really does help us. We appreciate all of our regulars, all of our new people. It means a lot to us. So thanks for being here.
Yeah. All right. We will see y'all next time.